want to work on romancing the ordinary. I'm still riding my high that I got from being able to go with my mom to the New York Botanical Orchid Show. And ever since then, I couldn't stop thinking about all the beautiful displays that I saw. Now, I was so proud of myself when I walked out of that gift shop and I only had one orchid in my hand, because I was so proud of all the restraint that I had and the fact that I was so logical in terms of what I picked. And then I walked into Trader Joe's and I found these guys for just a whopping $6.99, and all my restraint literally just flew out the window. So I picked a bunch of them up and I figured it would be a great opportunity to do a 5-minute Friday where I just put together a couple of different centerpieces for the middle of my table and for the middle of my mom's table. So if you guys are new here, 5-minute Friday is where I pick a task, whether it's something that I've been putting off or something that I have recently been inspired by. Set a timer for 5 minutes and just get it done, because action leads to more inspiration to do more. And if it doesn't, and I'm too tired to continue, well, I feel good that at least I got one task done for the day. So let's start getting this done. While I'm doing it, I'm also going to be talking to you about what I have picked and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So let's get after it. I brought this orchid home from the New York Botanical Garden, a Latouria-type Dendrobium. And honestly, I'm not 100% if I'm saying Latouria correct. Anyway, honestly, I don't know much about it yet. What I do know is that it prefers bright, indirect light, moderate humidity, and has to stay consistently moist during its growing season. And sometimes that's just enough to begin. Instead of placing it into a traditional planter, I'm setting it into place in this vintage soup tureen that I found on Facebook Marketplace. I love the softness of the shape. It feels collected, not store-bought, almost like it has a little bit of history to it. To secure the orchid inside, I'm using some of this wrapping paper I received in a recent package. Nothing fancy, just repurposing what I already had. It doesn't need to be complicated to be beautiful. I did also try adding 2 bird's nest ferns to flank the side of it, and as I was struggling to get it in there, I started to look at it and ultimately decided I didn't really like the way it looked, so I ended up removing it. Then at the base, I added this bright chartreuse moss. It really helped to brighten this entire arrangement. This entire arrangement took a total of 5 minutes, and it's simple, thoughtful, beautiful, and most importantly, it's done. For the next arrangement, I'm using something much more ordinary. Just a bunch of simple orchids from the grocery store. Nothing rare, nothing collector level. It's just what most of us can pick up while grabbing milk and bread. And I actually really love that, because beautiful does not mean exclusive. I'm keeping the plant in their nursery pot and just simply placing them into a cash pot that I picked up at a local thrift store. Grouping them together into this small vessel really makes it feel a lot more special and a little bit more curated. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just a little bit of extra layer. Now these can't be kept in here forever, only up until their bloom cycle is done. But that's still okay. Now I had a couple of small Sansevieria from another project I was working on, and I decided to incorporate them here as well. I love mixing textures, and their strong upright form gives this arrangement a bit of structure that wasn't there previously. They also work well together from a care perspective. Light watering and very bright indirect light, so grouping them like this makes sense practically, not just visually. Now I am tucking a bit more moss around the base to conceal the rim and add some more texture. Not too much, just enough to make it feel finished. It's really amazing how these small adjustments can shift the whole presence of a plant. Alright, so I actually still had quite a bit of orchids left over, so I may have gone a little bit overboard in Trader Joe's. But anyway, it gave me the opportunity to make a third arrangement, very similar to the last one, but this time using a silver thrifted cash bow instead of the ceramic one that I had used previously. I love the idea of mixing living plants with something that feels a little bit more time-worn. The silver adds a bit more quiet polish, almost reflective without overpowering the orchid. The process is still exactly the same, I'm keeping everything in its nursery pots and simply just layering around them. Nothing complicated, no repotting, just thoughtful placement. The silver really does instantly make it feel a little bit more formal, maybe something that you would place on a dining table or a console, whereas the previous ones felt a little bit more relaxed in my opinion. So same plants, same care, different mood. And that really is the beauty of styling. You don't always need new plants, even though in this case I did break that rule. Sometimes you just need a different vessel. All right, guys, so here are the three arrangements. The center one right here is the orchid that I picked up from the New York Botanical Gardens. I absolutely love the drama of this orchid. I love the movement it gives. I love how full the flowers are, even though they're small. I love the polka dots on them. It adds a little bit of whimsy. And I think that the soup tureen that it sits in is a really nice complement to it. Now, while the flowers themselves aren't as big and bright and bold and beautiful, I think that the soup tureen with the blue and the chartreuse moss that is at the base of it really kind of elevates it and brings that boldness of color that I was looking for. Now, these other two on the side, those are nice and bold and colorful. So one I put in a blue and white container, and then one I put in a sterling silver container. Now this one right here, these three small orchids, like I said, I picked up for $6.99 at Trader Joe's. There's just three of them in here. So along with the vase, the container that I thrifted, you can give this to someone, a beautiful little centerpiece for under probably 30 bucks. I think it's just such a great smile gift to give to someone. Now there's a few more orchids in here. I did put the Sansevieria at the bottom. Like I had said in my voiceover while I was putting this together, I really tried to go with something a little bit different than the ferns because I was really thinking about the watering needs of this. So I ended up going with the Sansevieria. I don't know if I love the Sansevieria. They just don't really show up. You can't really see them as much unless you're really studying it. So to me, if I were to make this again, I'd probably leave those out. But I really love the moss at the base of it. I like how the moss is not trimmed perfectly, so it comes over the edges to add a little bit of that wildness. But overall, I'm really quite happy with how these turned out. So let me know in the comments below if you guys have ever made a centerpiece like that, or if you would try it. And if you guys want to see the video that I did on the New York Botanical Garden Orchid Show, make sure to watch it right here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.